Ricardo Torres from Mexico. I am an architect and founder of ISS Arquitectura. We are an architecture firm specialized in energy efficient home design. So that said, I'd like to welcome you all to this first session of the BIM series online hosted by iWorkstation. And I'm really glad to participate in this event because we are going to give you the insights on building information modeling. So you get to know what this exactly is and how you can leverage the power of using such potential. So, all right, folks, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and video so you can see the presentation I have prepared for you. So let me know if you can see my screen in a second. Cool. So, as Ednan said, we selected 10 questions to be addressed today, and we're going to start by the most frequent question that we found on the questionnaires, and it is exactly about what is exactly BIM. I mean, many folks are asking this because the industry is talking a lot and lots more about this. So, what is BIM? It stands for Building Information Modeling. That's simple, but it gets too complex when we get deeper. It is actually a collaborative process. It involves people, processes, and technology. So, to my surprise, as of 2019, there are people that are still using CAD or 2D drafting for delivering the whole project information. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. The thing is that we are not saving time and we are not exploring new ways of design and construction administration. So BIM actually is an anticipation for the physical construction. When we say anticipation, that means that we build the building twice. I mean, this is digital and physical. So when you anticipate the construction with a digital model, you can actually mitigate the errors that are commonly happening during the on-site. So as many of you know, you may find the contractor solving the problems on the go because of not having a 3D model with the right information to be anticipated. So this actually optimizes the construction, and of course, it saves lots of money, not only for the builders, but the client and the stakeholders. And ultimately, the user gets a better results where everyone is happy with it. And as a little bit of a story, I was working with a company a few months ago, and I was actually in charge of implementing BIM. Many of them knew about the BIM. I mean, they were familiar with Revit, with the products that are actually make the BIM family. But the thing was that they were not actually really familiar with the terminology or the real mission of BIM. So when I came there, I just told them, hey guys, I want to make this implementation as good as possible, but I need your help. I need you to understand what this is about. I need you to dig deeper into the building information modeling so you get to know the real benefits, because they were not convinced at the beginning. They thought that it was just magical programs or that was a kind of a formula for one size fits all. And of course it is not. It is more. It is a philosophy that you need to embrace, but first need to understand how to use it, how to implement it, and what exactly you need in order to make this a good implementation. So that leads us to the next question, which is, who can use BIM? Another recurrent question in the questionnaires we send you guys, and it is actually for everyone involved in a construction or real estate development. And what I mean by that is stakeholders, clients can use BIM. How? Well, there's a term in building information modeling called facilities management. This is the last stage of BIM where all the information is put into a common data environment where the client and stakeholders can handle and manage all of their properties with real-time information. In other words, if a client wants to see what is happening with a building in Singapore or in China, they can access their hub to see all the information related to that building. And that's how the clients and stakeholders can use BIM. And of course, there are the creators of information, which are which is the architects, engineers, subcontractors, contractors, specialty contractors, and consultants. They create the information by using and deploying the software for building information modeling. And you name it, guys. I mean, this time I'm going to focus on only Revit because it is a program that we use here at my office. But there are other solutions in the BIM world, such as Bentley, Tekla, MicroStation. There are lots of vendors and providers out there that are offering BIM for you to make a better construction process. So this actually takes us to think that, okay, if everyone involved in the construction process can use BIM, how can we deliver a clear strategy for them to know if this is going to be useful and benefit for all the users? Well, all the people or the members involved in the project need to understand the rules of the game prior to joining you. So it is up to the architects or the project leader to set all the standards, all the regulations, and how the game is going to be played. So that said, you can ensure that all participants are actually on the same page. And when you share the information, chances are that the risk mitigation is going to increase because everyone understands where this is going. Everyone understands how to exchange information, and everyone understands how to deliver the right information to the right people at the right time. So you see that at my office, I'm actually ensuring that all the structural engineers, the MEP, the consultants are familiar, but are not only familiar with BIM, but are using BIM 100%. I was actually, in the past, I was thinking that it was not so important for me to have everyone using BIM at all. But then I realized that if they were not using BIM 100%, there were going to be information losses. And what we don't want is to leak information or miss it along the way. So I had to look further. I had to dig deeper into the consultants to see who actually really does BIM here in Mexico, because here in my country, BIM is on diapers. As contrary to the United States or the London, there are more developed countries in which building information modeling has been evolving too fast, and with lots of advancements in technology. So that leads to the next question, which is, what are the limitations of building information modeling? So I found that there are no limitations until you get to know your real problems or obstacles. And that means that when when you are actually developing a project, you can tell that there is a limitation as long as you see your real problem. And that happens when you create information for your client, and you get to know that, okay, I can do this kind of stairs, right? This could be a limitation because you're kind of accustomed to do them in traditional 2D CAD, where you can, handle and do everything freely without constraints. But in BIM, it works different. So that is the time when you know that the software development could be a limitation, because you need to get to know more about the software, or you need to get hired an expert in that software in order to solve the obstacle. But again, it all turns out with the level of complexity of your project. The more complex the project, you might find more limitations. But again, there are no limitations. I mean, there are just opportunities for you to know more about the software you're using, to know more about the strategies that you're implementing, and to increase your experience in the design build process. It is important for you guys to have on-site experience. I am actually remarking this because when I was at that company a few months ago, when we wanted to implement BIM at high scale projects, that was kind of a failure because we were lacking of on-site experience. So Another interesting question was that if civil engineering can be implemented within BIM. The answer is a resounding yes. And there's actually lots of possibilities for civil engineers to join the building information modeling. I'm just naming a few software from Autodesk that you can leverage if you want to join BIM as a civil engineer. And one is a very, very high quality software used for infrastructure design called InfraWorks 360, in which you can use geospatial information for you to develop an urban plan, a city, a commercial complex, you name it. You can do whatever. And the thing is that civil engineers need to become aware of these tools, because I have found that lots of engineers in here are not using BIM at all. So when they want to integrate our BIM projects into their 2D CAD environment, it becomes pretty difficult for them because we are not speaking the same language. So it is important for you, if you're a civil engineer, to get to know these tools and to get to know that there are experts out there that can help you with the process of implementing a successful BIM practice within your engineering company. Okay, hold a second. I'm going to take a bit of water. Thank you very much. So, okay, as a summary for civil engineers, we want you guys, civil engineers, to join BIM, and it is important for us because you handle the city information, the infrastructure information, and when we don't have that information integrated into our BIM models, well, we're just lacking lots of paramount data that we can leverage on earlier and later stages of the life cycle within our designs. So again, and the last question of this questionnaire is, what is the future of BIM? I mean, I was researching about the future of BIM, and many experts says that actually BIM is not going to be BIM at all in the future. Well, they're going to have to invent another term to describe what the future of BIM is going to be. But what is true right now is that BIM is evolving pretty fast, actually faster than you think. We have reached a level of technology that we can combine with our creativity and experience to get to results that we would never imagine we could get. For example, there is the automation thing that is so named and mentioned within events, and lots of providers that actually focusing on automation. And the reason is it saves time. It lets you focus on design rather than spending on manual and tedious tasks. And also, it gives you more freedom to create what you want and do other things at the same time. And one of my favorite ones, it is artificial intelligence. They are actually implementing that into the building information modeling world, and by creating robots that can build a house in a day rather than having 5 laborers working from 9 to 5 to build a house. So this is a huge advancement, because it doesn't mean that the work of laborers are going to be replaced, but that means that the laborers will be able to focus on other areas of expertise, or actually even dig deeper into their specializations to become better professionals. With the help of artificial intelligence, you can now make decisions better, faster, and actually in a fraction of time than 10 years ago. So another important thing is parametricism. And this is the core of building information modeling. If you have taken a look at Revit or any other BIM solution, you will find that if you want to succeed in your information, you need to implement parameters. You need to know how to make a parametric model so you can modify it on real time. You can go back and forth without losing information, and you can create and explore several thousands of design options prior to build a break or to just take a break on the wall. So, okay, and this is the end of the questions, and I would like to hear you guys if you have any any particular question regarding BIM, because the goal of this is for you to understand what is BIM and how you can use it at your company to leverage a potential and, of course, make better projects. So it starts with a question with which I think it actually complements the last question, the last couple of questions in the session 1, and it is about geospatial information and building information modeling. How do they relate each other? I mean, how can you combine the GIS, what is called in the industry, and BIM? What are the the workflows or the processes in order to integrate the geographical information into a building information environment? So this is mainly done for urban planners and developers, and also for real estate developers as well. They use lots of GIS on their daily workflows because it is important for them to know where they are located, all of their properties, and what are the weather statistics and the historical data, demographics, economics, etc. So you can get lots of insights from GIS when implemented correctly into a BIM process. So this is actually an advantage for all of the civil engineers and GIS experts, because they can now, or actually from the past 10 years or more, integrate 3D models into their GIS environment and building information modeling. So by that means that you can see or actually walk through a complex or buildings or a whole city within a digital environment, and you can actually take a look at how it is doing, or what needs to be done, or what projects are going to be developed. So there are endless possibilities. Actually, this GIS is changing the way people are working together. And just so you know, Autodesk is working so close with a company called Esri, E-S-R-I. They are a huge company in the GIS industry and are partnering with Autodesk to offer better solutions, and more than that, better interoperability within the BIM products from Autodesk and the Esri software. So these are great news for those people involved in the GIS industry, because you now can leverage the power of Autodesk software and Esri. So that means that you can get better data management. So we were talking about the process of not losing information within the workflow, and I have realized and I have seen that the main loss of information happens when with the civil engineer and the GIS data, because again, in our country and in many regions, the awareness of the GIS and BIM complementation is not so big, or it hasn't caught up at all. So that means that we need to work with dated information, with not relevant information to the projects, and that makes a chaos when we want to implement our building information modeling into the GIS from other partners or members of the projects. So another interesting question is about cost, and let me tell you guys that I am really into cost since 3 years ago, because we noticed how this can actually make an investment to be more accurate. And not only that, you can give certainty to the client that what you say the building is going to cost is going to cost. I mean, with some margin of error, of course, this is not perfect, but you can create that trust bond you need with your clients and stakeholders by presenting a detailed cost estimation of your project rather than just guessing, because most of the times builders guess what the building is going to cost, and that is not good for them at all, and neither for the client, because they are playing just a risky game when it comes to investing. So the question that one of the participants asked was how to extract the data from the 3D drawings done in a BIM environment. Well, there are lots of vendors and software solutions you can use to extract the data from, say, Revit or any other BIM software to a third-party cost estimation solution. But mainly, You can do that in Revit. If you want to do quantifications, you can do that by leveraging the tools Revit already has built in, or you can actually create material takeoffs in order for you to quantify and generate a cost estimation even on the earliest stages of design, which that means it could be on schematic design, believe it or not. You can have rough cost estimations in the first stages of design. So that means that you don't have to wait until construction documentation and bidding to know what the cost of the building will be. And this is a huge advantage for you because a brief story about this, the cost estimation that happened to me was when I was working with the firm I already told you. And we were actually developing a house. And that house was on the schematic design stage, and the client needed to know how to compare the structure, the steel structure against versus a concrete structure. So in a 2D CAD environment, you don't have parametric information of cost at all, or there's a way there's not so reliable. So what we did was to create a families of structures of steel and concrete to compare them together and see what works best for the project, and give a number to the client. And I mean, in a split, we didn't have to wait weeks for generating this information, and that helped the client to see, okay, we want this structure because we see that it is optimized for the project, and in terms of cost, it is actually feasible for the investment we are thinking of doing. So this leads to financial forecasting, which is a term that actually it is rarely used in the architectural industry, at least within the architects I have collaborated with, because they are not so into numbers. You know, they leave that part to the engineers or other specialists. But guys, if you're an architect, I encourage you to dig deeper into the cost estimation. You will be surprised how efficient and reliable you can get if you get to know how to make a proper cost estimation and how to deliver certainty and security to your client's investment. So continuing with the cost estimation thing and handling of data management, we find another dimensions of BIM called 4D and 5D. In simple terms, 4D stands for time and 5D stands for cost. We could get deeper into that because they actually go beyond. But to put it in simple words, time and cost makes 4D and 5D BIM. And by that, I'm saying that when you combine 4D and 5D, you can get planning, scheduling, and forecasting for the investment and for the construction to be built. In other words, you're planning and doing the schedule on how the building is going to be constructed. You are sorting out the phases. You're establishing the deadlines for any concept of the building to be completed as per the project description, etc. And you have, of course, the cost associated to that project timeline and concept. So you get to know and monitor in real time how your building is performing in terms of finances, and of course, how much money you have left. Because if you have a financial ceiling, you need to know how your building is performing so you don't run out of money before you finish that construction, which, guys, happens all the time. I have seen lots of clients having to to put off their buildings because they ran out of money, and the reason is because of bad planning and cost estimation. Believe me, if you can't dig deeper into these topics, do it right now, because it is important for us to provide quality information for the client to be sure that their investment will be a long-term one, not only a waste of time. So this, again, the 4D and 5D uses lead to better coordination among all the disciplines involved in the project. And ultimately, and highlighting this last point, it mitigates the errors on the construction side. So there comes the flip side of using 4D and 5D BIM. It is not always rainbows and butterflies, you know. the main drawbacks of this is change resistance. It's not actually about the software. It is not actually about the planning of expertise you may have in this field of planning and scheduling and cost estimation. It is about change resistance. When you don't want to change the way you work, when you are not open to seeing other alternatives on how to properly use planning and scheduling and cost estimation, that's when the drawbacks comes, because you are now trapped into your routine and you don't want to explore new ways of doing things. So this is, in my opinion, the main drawback of using 4D BIM and 5D BIM in your workflow if you are not open to seeing different things. And of course, there comes the lack of expertise. And I mean by that, the lack of expertise on the site. And I know that I'm using the on-site experience too much, but guys, it is really important. You need to go outside. You don't have to wait at your offices thinking that you're going to solve every problem by using software. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to get to know the builder, the contractors, how they are doing, how much time they are using in building certain things, etc. You need on-site experience, period. You need to go there and see what is happening on the real side in construction. And of course, another drawback is the cultural factors. When people don't have a culture of planning, they actually fail. They are planning to fail, because if they're skipping this important step, they are just, forecasting a failure during the execution of the building. So it is important for you guys to know that you need to overcome culture gaps. You need to become a change agent at your office, at your cities, and your region, in order for you to create consciousness and to make people aware of the importance of knowing how to plan, schedule, and do cost estimation properly if you really want to make a change and impact in your area. And finally, many people, of course, are asking how to implement BIM at their offices. And as we talked in the last BIM bootcamp, the implementation comes with several factors, because I was actually facing off this challenge at the company I just mentioned before. And the first challenge I faced off was people, culture, the way they worked, the beliefs they had about building information modeling. So I realized, okay, I think that the easiest part is to implement a strategy of using BIM software, but the hardest part is to convince them, or not convince them, to help them convince themselves that the benefits from BIM are huge, are tremendous compared to those from the traditional designing and drafting. So I was 1.5 years there, and I think I could help like 4 to 5 people get convinced about the benefits of BIM. But again, I needed to go out. I needed to quit because I wanted to continue with my business. So I think I just could leave some seeds in that company for the others to continue with implementation. But here's the deal. If you want to implement BIM, you need to make sure that you include a process and standards. Fortunately, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And there are standards from the International Standards Organization that you can buy and use, or you can hire an expert in these topics for you to help you with the implementation, because it is a long process. It is painful. I have to admit, it's not as easy as it seems. Because I don't want to tell you that, yeah, you can implement BIM in the first day and you will be getting clients and making lots of revenue. No, that's not true. You need to put in the hours. You need to become better every single day on that strategy. You need to get to know yourself in order for you to establish a proper workflow. And of course, you need to get help from the experts. You cannot do everything by yourself. I want you to be convinced about this, because this can be a one-man show at all. You need help. So look for it. If you really want to implement BIM, I encourage you to study, to dig deeper, to attend events like this or physical in your region, so you can get to know what the experts are saying about that and how they are actually doing and performing with BIM, because they will show you real examples of how they use this methodology in their workflows. and so you can get to know hands-on experiences and have more information to make better decisions. And again, one more time, if you want to implement BIM, either you have a bunch of on-site experience or you have a partner that has it. Because even though if you're not an expert in the construction side, well, team up with one guy or a group of people that are actually experts on construction topics and matters, because that will help you create better modeling, to implement better information, and of course deliver accurate project resources for the client and builder to know that they are building something feasible to construct. So, and one more thing is continuous education. If you think that in 1 month or 1 year you become an expert in BIM, well, let me tell you, that won't happen. You need to refine yourself every single day. You need to look for resources every single day. You need to do it every single day if you really want to become a BIM expert and actually exploit the full potential of this methodology. But remember, continuous education does not only mean that you're going to be reading about BIM. You need to know about politics, economics, and all the stuff that is happening around you, so you have a well-rounded expertise in order to make better decisions for your business or for your company. So this, guys, is what BIM does for you. And again, implementing BIM is a really a fun and enjoying process. It takes time, it takes courage, it takes to get out of your comfort zone, but believe me, the results pays off by themselves. So, okay guys, before finishing this, I want to tackle 2 more questions that were asked on the past BIM bootcamp. And this is about an important fact that we all know that could be implemented with BIM. And I'm talking about sustainability. So many might be saying, okay, how the heck can we implement sustainability? Because it's kind of intangible sometimes to know how to get data or weather data within a BIM model. Well, Autodesk, again, is developing or has been developing a tool for implementing geographic and weather data into BIM models for you to make a comparison and make better decisions on how you are going to design and build your project. So sustainability can of course be integrated with BIM. You can either use any software available in the market or the ones that you're familiar with and team up with the experts, because the software does not everything that you don't tell to do. You need one guy or a team of guys telling the software or the solution what to do, how to do it, and what outcomes to expect. So this comes to a term referred as building performance analysis. When you do this, you're actually gathering the information from the context, or in this case, the site, and the weather, the materials, etc. Lots of factors that you need to consider in order to make a performance analysis, and integrating them into a single or common data environment for you to analyze, to make iterations with the design options, and finally to consult this with your client and consultants and all the people involved in the project to know if the results are actually what you are expecting from the project outline. And the good thing about this is that you don't have to look for different places. I mean, it's just one single source with all the integrated database, which is actually updating for you to have the current information, and you make decisions accordingly to the time you're doing the project. So, and the one last thing is that you can simulate the performance of the building with this software solutions provided by Autodesk, for example. And you can upload your model on the cloud, and you can see how it will perform in terms of, say, wind tunnels and thermal loads, acoustical comfort, you name it. You can do a simulation with all of the aspects that you need to consider for a building performance analysis, And prior to build it and see what actually happens, you can simulate to get closer to the physical results. And that will, of course, lead you to know how to forecast an outcome. And when by the time that the building is already operating, you will compare that simulation with the actual results. And you, of course, will learn more about your process by doing that. So again, the answer is yes. Sustainability is can definitely be implemented with BIM, and there are lots of solutions for you to use in order to do that. So another thing, a question that actually was raised on the bootcamp was about the facility management and the structural integrity. Guys, this was actually surprising to me when I found how you could integrate technology within BIM and monitor a structure of a building. So mainly facility management is for the buildings that are already operating and that are occupied. And that means that once it is finished, the construction, you get to the sixth dimension of BIM, which is FM, or facilities management. And this is used again by real estate developers, by the homeowners or the clients or stakeholders to administrate their properties and to know what is happening in real time. Okay, if they want to know how many people are occupying their spaces they are leasing, okay, they see, well, yeah, we have 100 people from this company using this space, but we want to get more people into that space, so we need to divide it. All right, but we don't have, okay, you have already the 3D model updated, and you can modify the information of the project in order to get 100 more people into your building. But this is done by providing a BIM model and project integrated into a facility management software, which can be like Archibus or any other in the market. So the huge advantages of facilities management with BIM is that you can have a property in any location and you can track it anytime. And the other good thing is that you can actually monitor how your structure is performing by using vibrational sensors within the building. So you get feedback from those sensors, as they are moving, and you can update and upgrade the structural model from your BIM software. So that means that you can ensure that the structure is actually working and performing as descripted or described or as intended, rather than just guessing if your structure is performing good. So this is ultimately for security and safety reasons, because if you know how your structure is performing, you can then say to your clients, guys, don't worry about that. Even in seismic or lots of shaking territories, this building is going to be safe for your people to be in. So again, another use of BIM, there are endless possibilities, but when it comes to facility management, yes, you can do it with that, and you can take advantage of the technology already available for you to integrate within your BIM model and provide your client with certainty and security. And lastly, we actually promised a secret bonus on the BIM Bootcamp and on this promotional online series, which is to know how to get free commercial Autodesk software. Many people are skeptical about that because they say, come on, guys, Autodesk doesn't give anything for free, but student licenses. Well, let me tell you that they do provide commercial free licenses. But again, it is not for all, because you need to meet the criteria they establish. But again, if you're someone who are actually in the entrepreneurship world or has a startup or a non-profit organization and are really making an impact or want to make an impact in your society, you have the opportunity to apply for the Autodesk Impact Entrepreneur Program, which is aimed at professionals of architecture, sustainability, and engineering, and I think that industrial design as well, that really want to change the world by the power of design and making. So this is a huge asset if you want to start your architecture, engineering, or construction company with a limited budget, because I know, guys, when you're starting out, you have a limited budget to make this kind of decision. So just make sure at the end of this session to leave your details, because I will send you the instructions on how to get the AUTODESK software for free, so you can start your own company right now and become a better professional. So, okay, that's it for now, and I would like to get to the next step, which is the questions from you guys. So, Adnan, I leave you the microphone.
Yeah, there's a question from Sushant Patel.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sushant, I have unmuted you, and you can also switch on your video as well. Yes, Sushant.
Hello.
Hello, Sushant.
Yeah,
good evening.
Yeah. Good evening. I just want to tell that I am more into system design. That means hit load calculation and system selection, and all the calculation which I am doing right now, all in Excel sheet and everything. Currently, I am not using any software or likewise. So if I have to convert my domain into building performance analysis, just like you said, so how should I approach? Is it necessary to learn some softwares? If yes, then which softwares or something like that? I just want to clear everything, because currently for few of companies, my profile is just selected, but I don't have any exposure to such kind of software. That's why my profile sometimes gets stuck somewhere.
Okay, so what was your industry again?
HVAC engineer. I'm
HVAC. Okay. Yeah. You know, this actually I have a colleague from a city around here that is an HVAC expert, and they have been using BIM for more than 10 years. Okay. And you know, what they did was pretty kind of, you know, it is a fun story, because the CEO of the company, one time they entered his office and told all the guys that if he saw them using AutoCAD even a minute, they were going to be fired, because now they were going to use Revit to use the HVAC. So they were shocked, because, okay, come on, boss, you can't fire us just like that. Well, I can. Of course I won't. I will provide you with the training and guidance to implement BIM in our office. So yeah, I mean, the process is long again. It takes lots of you know, courage and cultural change. And just answer me this question: do you work for a company, or do you have your own company?
I'm working for a company.
Okay, you work for a company. Man,
yeah.
You will find a huge challenge trying to convince people. So don't do it. Don't convince them. Approach them in a way that you can have other experts have their say on your company, so they can see the real benefits. Because that happened to me, and that's why I'm sharing this experience. I wanted to get to those people by telling, hey guys, come on, see this, what Revit can do. There are lots of huge things we can achieve in this company if we all use the BIM. But that didn't work. And why? Because people sometimes tend to not trust you as an expert, because you are say the same level as they are. You know, they are all employees, they are all teammates. So man, who are you to tell me that what you're bringing is actually the solution for our problems? So what I did was to bring someone from Zaha Hadid. You know, I had to contact some guy that I have a contact with in London, and say, guy, hey, come on, help me guide my teammates to know how you use BIM, because Zaha Hadid is a huge company. I mean, it's not someone that you can just say, no, man, you're telling lies. Of course, you won't believe everything they say, but again, they have results, and results speak by themselves. So when I brought this guy from Zaha Hadid, everyone was like, oh my God, you're really using BIM? Yes, my friends, we are using BIM. we're using Revit, we're using Maya, we're using 3ds Max, Dynamo, parametric design, you name it. They were using lots of very advanced things, and they were actually developing their own scripts and algorithms to design their organic shapes, as many of you know. So yeah, that was the strategy I took, and I think it was successful because all of the people were wanting for more. They wanted to know how they did with structural and HVAC, how they coordinated all the disciplines within a Revit model. So yeah, that approach actually works for me, and I think it would work for you. If you want to implement HVAC in your company, look for an expert in that area and bring them up to your company. If you can do it physically, it would be better, but there's no limitation. You can do it online on video conferencing, and you can share that with your peers so they get to know what really BIM is, and that will be painless for you, and you will have more chances to succeed in your BIM proposal. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
There's Anunay Jain also. Yes, Anunay.
Hello, Ricardo. Hello, Adnan. So
Hello.
my question is, what is the future of BIM for structural engineers? I'm actually in my pre-final year, and I'm doing my master's in structural engineering. So right now we are doing analysis and design on some of the state-of-the-art softwares. But is that process of analysis and design, whether it is RCC or Steel, is it currently integrated into some BIM commercial softwares like Revit?
Right. Well, actually, the future of BIM lies in interoperability. The companies are developing lots of protocols to get their software be implemented or integrated into different platforms. So yeah, that way you can guarantee that if you say do a structural analysis in Tekla or Bentley, you can actually get that into other common data environments and ensure that all the information is going to be taken from one place to another. And that is I think that the hardest challenge that all BIM companies have had. All BIM providers or manufacturers, because it turns out that when you do something in one platform and you want to exchange that data into another, you lose lots of information or actually get results that are not intended to. So I was reading that the future of BIM lies in interoperability, so you can guarantee that all of the projects and the information is gathered from one place, taken to another, and maintained.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. So is it right now possible in Revit to actually design any structure, or do we need to design in the commercial softwares like ETABS, and we can just try to take out the parameters of the structural members into the Revit? So it's just modeling.
I would
only
like
in
to
Revit?
answer your question actually.
Yeah.
It's not possible to design
Thank you very much.
structure in the Revit itself. So if you are looking for a structural engineering and you are looking for structural design and analysis, I would rather say that Autodesk, one of the software or from the Autodesk, that is robot structural analysis, that is best suitable for the structure analysis and the design purpose. So what people do as of now is they make a model in Revit and they transfer that model into robot structure analysis for the design purpose or analysis. It's absolutely a wrong process. So you need not to start your working from the Revit. You need to start your working from the robot structure analysis that has IS2 integrations as well in it. So once you once you do the analysis in the robot, you get the designs. Then with the designs you create the model, and that model can be exported to a Revit software too. That will be used for the detailing of the 3D detailing or the creating the sections and creating the designs. I hope I answer your question now. So this is
surely.
I have told you. So we are in less of time, and so all of you, it was nice session with all of you. So we connect back again tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Okay. So thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, all. I really appreciate you. Thanks for this opportunity.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.
All right, bye.